If you want to be a part of the conversation before it happens here on YouTube, click that link in the description to join the free Courtside Financial Discord. What's going on, everyone? My name's Obi, and welcome back to Courtside Financial, the podcast where we talk about business and technology. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how many Europeans are being left out of the electric car revolution. So this is going to be a super interesting episode. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. Your engagement really does go a long way in helping out the channel. This isn't just a tale about automobiles. It's a narrative that could rewrite the history of an entire industry. It's a pivotal moment that should spark some serious contemplation about how things are being done today and where they're going to be tomorrow. On the 5th of September, at the Munich Motor Show, they unveiled their curtains with an attention-grabbing headline. That headline was, "Why is IAA becoming the China show?" Nearly 50 Chinese companies descended on this global stage with a vision so ambitious that it was hard for the world to ignore. They all were seeking to redefine the landscape of European automotive collaboration. So what's at stake here? Well, it's the disquieting feeling that European automakers could be falling behind in comparison to Chinese car makers. And everyone talks about European engineering and European cars. Well, the status symbol of that might go away in the near future. The pivotal moment that got everyone talking came from Renault's CEO, Luca de Meo, as he made a candid admission. Chinese electric car manufacturers are one step ahead of European car manufacturers. Those are powerful words that should make you sit up and take notice. Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares echoed these sentiments, sounding the alarm that competition from Chinese electric vehicle makers is nothing short of brutal. These are leaders in the automotive industry sounding a horn that something significant is brewing and is on the horizon. So why is this shift happening? What's causing this shift in the automotive industry? It all starts with the growth of new energy vehicles in Europe showing signs of slowing down. The annual growth rate, once a roaring beast, is only now 14%. When you compare this to the electrifying growth in 2021 of 142%, these numbers are hard to ignore. So what's the primary reason for this slowdown? The reduction of subsidies for new energy vehicles and the relentless surge in raw material prices. European companies, in a bid to protect their bottom line, have opted to raise prices. But here's the twist. More and more Europeans are finding electric vehicles financially out of reach. But here's where it gets fascinating. While European automakers might see this as a bargaining chip to have politicians raise the ban on internal combustion engines, they're missing a critical point. If Europeans can't afford their own electric vehicles and China makes a grand entrance into their market with their vehicles, there's going to be an irresistibly attractive appeal, and obviously the game is going to change in China's favor. In the words of BMW CEO Oliver Lipsy, this is an imminent risk. This statement should resonate with all of us. The European Automobile Manufacturers Association issued a stark warning earlier this year. A substantial number of Europeans can't afford electric vehicles. The statistics paint a grim picture. In countries like Germany and France, where net income per capita is really high, the penetration rate of these vehicles soars past 30%. But in countries with lower income, like Slovakia, it's a mere 3%. One major contributor here is the high cost of electric vehicles in Europe compared to China. For instance, one of the cheapest electric vehicles in Europe, the Renault Dacia Spring, is going for 21,000 euros, while its Chinese counterpart, the Dongfeng Nano Box, is 4 times cheaper. This price gap is a significant roadblock for many Europeans. But it's not merely a question of sticker price. The cost of recharging vehicles in Europe is also a formidable hurdle. Public charging costs in the UK are on par with that of gasoline, and that sounds crazy to say. This obviously makes electric vehicles less appealing to budget-conscious consumers. In terms of infrastructure, Europe lags far behind in terms of public charging solution. The pace of public construction is sluggish, and it's far from meeting very ambitious goals that have been set. The delays in building Europe's charging infrastructure certainly aren't helping the electric vehicle adoption rate over there. On top of all this, there's the cost of the electric vehicle supply chain, which is a lot higher in Europe. The supply chain issues are a real obstacle, particularly when it comes to battery production. European automakers are grappling with the shortage of battery production capacity. In 2021, Europe's battery production was only 69 gigawatt hours, while the demand was 120 gigawatt hours. The reliance on battery imports and the lack of local supplies are driving up costs. Labor cost is another factor here. Europe has higher labor costs, and the high incomes in Europe are what contribute to this, making it more expensive to produce vehicles in the region. The subsidy policies are also different in Europe than they are in China. Europe gets subsidies at a much smaller scale, and they're always decreasing rapidly. In 2022, there was a withdrawal of subsidies along with rising electricity and rising raw material prices, which has contributed to the decline in electric vehicle adoption in Europe. So what's the European response to the changing landscape? It's intriguing. Some European automakers are increasing price and reducing output to ensure profits, while Chinese car companies are doing it the way that I think it should be done, is increasing volume and trying to lower price at scale. This reflects a fundamental difference in strategy and mindset. European car companies are clearly taking a different approach, and this is probably due to the short-term needs that they have. They're driven by the pressures of short-term financial performance, which isn't a good strategy if you're trying to play the long game, in my opinion. New energy vehicles have clearly divided the world into two camps. In China, automakers are clearly pushing for electric vehicle dominance. It's the biggest EV market in the world. In Europe, we're seeing a more conservative approach that's influenced by financial constraints. As we ponder the future of mobility, we have to ask ourselves, what does it mean if a lot of Europeans can't afford electric vehicles? And what does that mean for the global automotive industry? This isn't just about cars anymore. It's about the future of business, technology, and the changing dynamics of global competition.